There we go. Got the right button. Hello, everybody. It's Azur. I'm here. I'm back after a very very strange week. I do apologize. I try to be timely with these streams. I try to keep them on a schedule, but my own schedule is constantly changing, so that makes it difficult. I will talk about that actually in a little bit. But yeah. So last week, my son had a fever, and I thought, you know what? Put him down for a nap, and we'll hang out a little bit, and I'll do a little stream. And let me tell you, that was not happening. that was very difficult. If you caught the stream last week, he's like riding on my shoulders and screaming, and we just very quickly outlined some things that we're gonna do today. But it was not a good stream, and I'm sorry. And it also meant that I did miss the doing the conversion stream Sunday night. So my bad. Everybody. So hello. How's everybody doing today? Myself, I'm hanging in there. I do have news that relates to the stream a little bit, is that I have a new position. I got a new job. It's going to change up my schedule a little bit. Mostly the homebrew and adventure design stream. I'm going to play it by ear, but I'll be starting next week. So, woohoo! Yay for me. Locked out of my house, leaving for work, had to disassemble. Jeez Louise. More time for a Kingmaker play-by post. Oh my god. Let me tell you, I would love to be doing a Kingmaker play-by post. I've said it before, say it again. Yeah. Please do, honestly, because eventually I will do it. But I looked at what I'm doing right now, and I was like, I think it was Mark Safer posted on Reddit, and he's like, tell me what games you're playing. And I was like, oh yeah, let me comment a few. And then I was like, yeah, I'm doing Strength of Thousands, and Fist of the Ruby Phoenix, and Dark Archive, and also Fall of Plague Stone, 4 PFS games, and I'm in Quest for the Frozen Flame, as well as PFS games. And I was like, oh my god, I think I'm doing a lot. And importantly, I very much try not to let the quality drop between the games. There's sometimes PFS gets a short side of stick where I'm like, all right, Strength of Thousands gets something like, and the man that you have been fighting this entire time looks at you, a scowl on his face. How dare you strike me, he says. And then PFS gets, yep, you hit that guy real hard. Meanwhile, though, anybody, I think if Slozar's in chat, Fist of the Ruby Phoenix is getting a lot of my narrative flourishes because that game is so anime. Sometimes one, yeah. Oh my god. So Nex and Calpal, being admins, can see the whole server and everything. I super recommend checking out the insanity that is Fist of the Ruby Phoenix, because that game, oh my god. We just started with like, haha, we picked this really great spot to fight these guys. It's a sand pit, so everything's difficult terrain. And then there are two opponents. One leapt into the air and started walking around on clouds. The other one just teleports through and starts beating people to death. And so the party responds by sprouting wings and flying in the air and shooting kamehamehas. And I was just... The game went from like 1 to 100. No time flat. Really fun. Oh my god. Oh, I should probably explain that I've got this up over here. So what I wanted to use today to do, I had two plans originally, and I might be narrowing that, winnowing that down to one plan just to save time, because I got stuff to do today, and I'm eating lunch as we do this. It's just rice and ponzu sauce, so that's embarrassing. And it's still hot. It's still very hot. So I wanted to talk about skill feats, because they're fun to homebrew, but they're really, really difficult to homebrew, because what niche hasn't been covered by skill feats, and if you really start thinking about skill feats, you go, well, I could kind of put that actually into a dedication, or I could put that, into an item, these sorts of things. So I wanted to do skill feats today, and I might not, but back burner, we'll see. So what I did is I pulled the server, I pulled Reddit, and I pulled the Paizo forums, all with radically different ways to approach this question of what are your 3 legendary skills, the 3 skills that you would like to typically take to legendary, should you get there. And the answers are not too surprising. You'll see that winning by a large margin is athletics, with half of the people who responded putting it as one of their legendary skills. Up next, though, is intimidation, which means there are so many people that just love grappling. I mean, those combat maneuvers are so useful, no matter what level you are. And just that people love that scared to death. People like these are very combat-focused skills. But what I really want to talk about, why I made this poll, was to see what skills are neglected. And this is an important one that we have too, is which skill are you least likely to raise up to legendary? I really wanted to see this answer. So you'll see here, we've got, things like nature, occultism, performance, religion, society, what I call the recall knowledge skills, that typically, when you think about them and their use, it's to recall knowledge, and then that's it. Which, player side, that's the thought process. And as a GM, I don't feel like that's entirely the case, but I understand that. Like, for instance, you'll notice Arcana, also a recall knowledge skill, is ranked pretty high. Because a lot of people's perception of Arcana is also like, it can be used to disarm traps, it can be used for, studying spells, essentially knowing important magic stuff. So even the non-wizards and non-sorcerers are like, yeah, I'm going to gravitate towards Arcana because that's going to be useful for me. So, anyway, what's important here to this poll? Survival is our loser by a large margin. You'll notice thievery is right here with it, but there's a reason why I'm not calling thievery the loser here. Taking a look here, where's thievery? Thievery got least likely to raise up to the legendary, 13 votes, which I think is fine. I'm going to talk about why that's going to be weird. But yeah, 27.9% of people are not survival is their least interesting, followed by performance. Interestingly, performance did outperform thievery in that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, what does survival do? And if we were to make skill feats for it, that's where I'd aim. Now, we're not going to talk a lot about skill feats. I'm just going to kind of get it out of the way, because it's something I really want to talk about. But I also would much rather do the adventure that we started writing. Coffee and rice. I'm like eating like a poor college student. Thank God I got the new job. Okay. So survival is one of those. Yeah, exactly. I was walking back from the dentist, and I was like, survival is very much a low level skill. It's like, I need to subsist in the wild, which almost immediately you don't need to do. Like, either the GM's like, it's not important, or the players just are at a point where like they're making money. They don't have to subsist anywhere. Hey, we went to a singular dungeon and now we're set for life. We're saving pennies, by subsisting. Or you're tracking, and tracking also is like, we have magic for that at higher levels. Or it's just not going to come up. And other uses of survival could vary. Hey, it's Slozar! I was just talking about the Fist of the Ruby Phoenix. And you weren't here. Anyway. So glad to see you. So glad to have you. Yes. Well, so I keep the stream on, the server on streamer mode, so I don't have to hear you guys. But yeah, there's so many things that survival does that a GM or a player could just be like, yeah, nature does that. So it's hard to differentiate like why you wouldn't just go, if you want to have that nature survivally based character, why you just wouldn't put everything into nature. Anyway, now survival does get used. GM side, you'll see it used as a way to disable environmental traps or environmental hazards. But I think I can count on one hand the number of environmental hazards I've seen. I know there's one in Age of Ashes. I know there's a few in Pathfinder Society scenarios. That's the thing. Like, environmental hazards also are a low-level threat. Because at higher levels, you're like, what's going to threaten my party? And the writer, is going to go, well, obviously, I'm not going to have, like, a deadfall. Or I'm not going to have them walk into quicksand. Because there's so many ways to solve that outside of skills. So at higher levels, you're going to use magical traps or curse or haunts or anything else. But at low levels, yeah, sure, okay, well, survival to get the guy out of the quicksand. And it's low level, so you don't need training in it. You can do it untrained. So what does survival do? And I talked about on the Paizo forums what the skill feats are, and they all very niche uses. So what I'd like to do sometime, maybe not today, probably not today, is I'd like to really talk about survival skill feats and what we could do to make it cool. I think Risky on the Paizo forums actually had a few suggestions, which was like dealing with poisons and diseases, which I think is interesting. But I also could see somebody saying, yeah, but why can't we have nature for that? And I think nature does already have some skill feats in that area. So, Tornadoes are low-level threat. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I am curious. I want to see. It's probably going to be like level 5 or something. Tornado. Weather hazard. Oh. Hazard, all right, 12. But, look at this. Here's the survival. You can prepare. Oh, look at this. This is interesting. It doesn't have a disable. Makes sense. But it has a prepare. This is weather. Oh, this is weather from from Kingmaker. So I have to actually think about that one. Yeah. I do. Sense motive comes up so often at my tables, mostly because I don't know. Maybe the way I speak when I talk to people, I'm like, yes, of course, you can spend the night at the inn. I'd like to sense motive. Nothing about that guy made me feel good. Oh crap! I went in a wrong direction with that speech pattern. Yeah. But what's interesting is in Pathfinder First Edition, I don't feel like I had a lot of players that actually raised up sense motive. It was always like an afterthought. They were like, oh crap, playing with Azur, we really want that. Yeah, sense motive is awesome. But that's one we can't get any skill feats for because it's wrapped up in perception now. So I think we've got lie to me with deception. But all right, skill feats aside, putting them aside for now. I did make some. I'm putting them. I almost distracted myself talking about skill feats I made for occultism like 3 years ago that I really love still. We're talking adventure. We plotted out an adventure Thursday night for you guys, last Friday morning for me. Let's take a look at what it was. Is this what I want? Here we go. So we had Risky here last time, who gave us a name, Chikarin's Grove. I don't know if I called it Chikarin, but I like Chikarin now. Chikarin's Grove, famed for apple orchard cider and a small yet decent library. Okay, that's going to be our kind of a good selling point. So what this is a level 0 adventure. Because I want to do a low level adventure to get people eased into writing adventures. And I want to have more people writing adventures. I think as fantastic and amazing and wonderful and polished Paizo material is, I'd love to see more voices in the adventure writing world, I suppose. And I'm not I'm not an amazing adventure writer. I've written some stuff in the past. I've even submitted stuff to Paizo in the past, and you can tell because my name is not on any books anywhere. They did not get accepted. So don't think of me as like the end all be all of writers. You know, if I get a phone call somehow, they're like, "Hey, we saw your stream. We want this guy." Then I'll start talking about myself a bit more. But no, basic adventure plotting out so that people can write adventures of their own and run their own homebrew stuff. So what this is a level 0 adventure. And we looked on Pathfinder Infinite last time, and there was one level 0 adventure. One! Which at first was a little strange to me. Wow, we have these rules. Why has no one done anything with them? But looking at the rules, you can very quickly see why no one has written a level 0 adventure, or why I myself, as a GM, have never run a level 0 adventure. They're brutal. They're brutal. Hold on a second. Speaking of brutal, it's very hot. I'm going to turn on the air conditioning. Hup. Living in Japan, I just got my remote control for everything. All right. So, taking a look. Has anyone here made a level 0 adventurer? Because, let me tell you, I made a few. I made 4 last night, out of curiosity. Our first one up. Yeah, see, thank you. In 3.5 or 3rd edition, I actually did like a bunch of, what was it? NPC games, where you took non-player character classes. You'd have like warrior, literal commoner, noble, etc., etc. And I'd run these for friends, and just put them in horrible situations, and then say, like, at the end, hey, congrats, now you pick a real class. Or, now you're dead, because whatever. So, I made a... Hold on. Yummy. I made 4 characters. Very, 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 very basic. The average party, so to speak. A strength-focused dwarf, who would likely go fighter. An intelligence-focused elf, who would likely go wizard. A dexterity-focused halfling, who would likely go rogue. And our wisdom-focused human, who would likely go cleric. Now, you don't have a class at this point. Let's take a look at some of these numbers. Our frontline fighter here is going to have 13 hit points. That is the most hit points that we can pull off at level 0. That is 2 above what the weakest first level character is going to have. It's not a lot. Hitting at the absolute maximum for at level 0 is at +5. That's using the one weapon they're trained with, because you're trained with a singular weapon. And some, average-ish stuff. Armor class 13! Because you have no training in armor. And only 5 gold to start with anyway. Oh my god. So, this is what these characters are going to look like. And they don't really have anything else. You're going to have your ancestry feat. You're going to have the skill feat from your background, which could be very interesting. There's probably a bit more of a meta game that could develop if you play a lot of these, where you're like, all right, you got to get... Somebody here needs to have this skill feat. You need, for instance, the field medic gives you battle medicine. With that +5 in medicine at max, it's going to be still tricky. It's still a coin flip of whether or not you're going to be healing somebody. I mean, 8 hit points here on our cleric, so to speak. A whopping 5 hit points on our elf int character. And if you want to play a wizard eventually in a 0 level game, it's incredibly hard. Because what you bring to the table is nothing. You don't bring anything to the table other than your skills. You don't have any spells. You have terrible hit points. You have... I shouldn't say you have terrible hit points. Those hit points are based on your ancestry. And, yeah, it's tricky. Just gave everybody kind of basic scores here. Highest we can get is a 16 and something at level 0. All right, so we see that we have challenges facing these characters. So we have to design an adventure that challenges those characters without absolutely murdering them. And here's the thing. absolute murder is pretty much the baseline for what's going to happen to them. And I don't mean it to be. All right. All that out of the way. Let's talk about the adventure kind of outline that we wrote. Let's see here. Okay. Good. All right. So, the background of this story, which I think we can probably start writing stuff, is a level 0 kineticist just due to lighter and status spray. Yes, that's exactly it. So here's the thing with level 0 characters. You get nothing at level 1 or level 0. Sorry. However, you get an apprentice option, which we're going to put into the adventure. Halfway through, everyone's going to unlock their apprentice option. So here's where it gets weird. What is the kineticist? It's obviously not an alchemist or a monk. Is it a martial class? Is it a spellcaster? I would say, without having seen the kineticist, probably a spellcaster, gets trained in the tradition. 2 cantrips. I didn't even look. No, they don't get any spells, do they? I didn't even look at the playtest. Everyone played in the cool playtest game that I think Bardock ran. And I was like, oh, that looks great. I have no time. So, there might need to be things that we need to write. Like, thaumaturge. What is thaumaturge? Martial class? I would suppose. It's really the only other thing that fits. Gunslinger martial class, yeah. So we might have to write some stuff for class's post-game mastery guide. Breaking new ground here, people. Come on, get on this, Bizo. Alright, I'm going to put this away. Boop. Alright. So what I do want to do, pre-planning, what did I do? Descent on Chikarin. So, this is essentially going to be the rough copy of what we're going to write. Here's our pre-planning here's our pre-planning that I did on last stream, and our checklist of things I'd like to get done on this stream. And you'll note some links because I prepped some stuff ahead of time, because that's what I do with my free time. Alright, so here's the quick adventure we wrote. Adventure opens in Chikarin's Grove, with the players meeting various NPCs around town who have a role to play in the adventure to come. Cool. So, the overarching background of this is there is a hag coven, because there are great low-level villains. They're quite powerful, they're magical, they pose a realistic threat, but they're also not that powerful. I think our big bad is going to be level 7, which is something that, a level 5 group, even a level 4 group could take down. So they make for very compelling villains, as well as having sorry, that was a train. The Coven kind of presents its own little ecosystem of problems, along with magic and interesting stuff. And for low-level, like, village folk, peasants, and the like, they're a very, very serious threat, and it's a terrifying one. So I like them as villains. It's also a little fairy tale-like, which I enjoy. I like dark fantasy. I do like high magic, but I tend to enjoy these sort of the things that got me into fantasy to begin with, like, Grimm's fairy tales and the like. All right, so the crux of this is the hags have been switching out babies in this little valley of towns and everything for a while now. And that's where we get changelings from. And they've come to claim another of their daughters, a changeling, who happens to be at the town of Chikarin's Grove. So, she is resisting the call. Something that changelings, do from time to time. Oh my goodness. I had breakfast, but it was not enough. Okay. So, players are meeting NPCs that are going to be playing a role in the adventure. And there will be an encounter where they're going to meet the changeling. And we did write out an encounter. Okay, here we go. The players are tasked with something that takes them around town. Delivering messages to classic. So, we have a town library. And I think that's a really great way to introduce the town and some NPCs. For anyone who's played Strength of Thousands or looked at the adventure, it opens with a lot of little side quests, or not side quests, but little errands. And one of my favorites is delivering mail, where you have to go around the town of Nantambu and deliver mail and various, and solving problems as you go there. And using that as a model could be a lot of fun. Like, hey, I'm here to pick up the books that you borrowed, or hey, I'm here to, you have some overdue fines that you have to pay. Okay. A way to introduce the town. And in the middle of this little side adventure, we get to meet the Changeling. Now, when we meet the Changeling, we're going to get a trivial or low fight. So I had looked up an interesting encounter, a raven. Now, I had said a singular raven, but I'm actually changing my mind here. Let's take a look here real fast. Because the rules for 0 level characters are you should treat them as though they're level -1 for determining encounter budget. So this would mean a singular crow would be a trivial encounter. Add in another crow, and you get a moderate encounter. And looking at a crow's stats, that I'm going to have to say this is, come on, get out of here, is going to be silly. 2 ravens, did I say crow? Sorry, 2 ravens could likely kill a party of level 0 characters. Especially if you're playing them at all cruelly. The turn would just be fly, beak, fly. Fly, beak, fly. Fly, beak, fly. So, as a player, your optimal, sort of play style would be to, ready a shield, or get your shield up, ready an action to trip it down out of the sky, or hit it as it comes down, which is interesting to me. I am curious. Let's make weak ravens. Let's take a look. You're going to need some classic laser type. Yeah. That's how you take down the Pidgeys of the world. No, wait. Geodude. He would lose to... I haven't played Pokemon in a long time. I say that living in a land where I'm surrounded by Pokemon, where my son learned Pikachu before he learned I love you. Rock beats flying? See, I don't know these. I didn't know that. I only played Red and Blue, and I was 11. So, although I do know what to say to upset every kid in Japan, is very carefully go on a big rant about how you have the strongest Pokemon, and talk to them about the strongest Pokemon, blah, 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 blah. My Pokemon's so strong, and then you tell the kid, yeah, I got him, I was fishing, and I caught him, and they're like, oh, and they'll, and then you just say it's Magikarp. Those kids get very angry, at least in Japan. Magikarp's not even a Pokemon, it's just a fish. Yeah, well, okay. Alright. 2 weak ravens. Well, first off, this math is wrong. Let me make sure that their hit points cannot be -3. It's probably you take the hit points down by 10. Yeah. So there's no math for that. All right, I don't know. All right, regardless, I do have a solution for this. So, what we're doing here. Let me go over what we came up with. They get attacked by the ravens. They scare the ravens off. They fight the ravens off. They're probably not going to beat the ravens. And we can reveal, perhaps, that the Changeling has some magical connection. A little hint that I said here. Small hint that something is very wrong. Ooh, spooky. Okay? The ravens then relay the information back to the hags. Aha, we found your daughter. Come and get her. Okay. This is what I was saying with the solving problems, meeting people. Sort of a large culmination of something. Librarians talking about bad omens. Changeling caught screaming in town. Rolling disturbance of unusual weather. Maybe. That night, the hags arrive. Boom! Solid fog. Shock and awe. Showing off that they are tough and they mean business. These guys are just going to be like, yeah, we're hags. What are you going to do? Dude, you cannot do any... You got your asses kicked by the ravens. Do you remember the ravens? They just did this. Peck, peck, caw. And you lost. We have magic powers. And, yeah, you can't beat us. So, they should attack with some minions to demonstrate their power, and this would be another encounter for the players. I don't want to fill an adventure with encounters. 1, in general. 2, especially at level 0. His encounters are just deadly for level 0 characters. Again, 5 hit points. 5 hit points is our minimum, 13 is our maximum. Which means, going back, this Raven, let me get out the normal template here, this Raven deals 1d6 damage, potentially could kill a character with a single peck. On a crit, almost everybody's dead. Oh my god. You hear what happened to Greg? Yep, Raven came out of the sky, poked a hole in his brain, and left. Yeah, I told Greg he should have fucking leveled up, but that guy, he was always just about playing Fortnite instead. That's millennial jokes. I don't know comedy. I did stand-up comedy, by the way. Have I mentioned that? I might have mentioned that. Did stand-up comedy here in Japan. Okay. Well, I'm trying not to get whatever my son had. Alright. So, the hags arrive, solid fog, they send in some minions. And I've been going back and forth on this. There's some cool things. Bloodseekers, evil mutant monster mosquitoes, go! Bloodseekers are very brutal. Very brutal. Wolves, cool, I like them. They can also be really nasty. Let me see, let's look at wolves real fast. Already I'm seeing that's a singular wolf is just deadly. Good lord. A singular wolf, you can't escape it. Those jaws are going to hit everybody. Critting on 14 or higher for a lot of these characters. Whew! Oh, yeah, that's maybe got a week. 24 hit points. They're never going to get through it. Anyway. But I also like the idea. I said this in the last stream. I said Yellow Musk Thralls could be incredibly dark to open up with. But it does tell a story. And it's one we could explore in a later adventure, where the players kind of find the Yellow Musk Creeper. Essentially, if you haven't fought a Yellow Musk Creeper, it exudes a poison, or a disease, I forget exactly, that kind of makes somebody drowsy, sleepy, somnolent. And then it essentially burrows into their skull and turns them into a zombie. Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. But this could be very interesting. Like, oh my god, the people in the town going like, oh, that's Hans! We thought we'd never see him again! What happened to him? Ah! And also, they're pretty weak, which is important. I believe that they've got the permanently slowed. Yep, permanently slowed 1. Great. Fine hit points. Oh, yeah. I'm going back. I'm really liking Yellow Musk Thralls as opponents that kind of come out lurching out of this fog. And now that solid fog works in the favor of the players who can kind of get away from these slowed creatures a little bit more. Really like that. I'm just going to kind of highlight this a little so that I remember to use them because I like them. So, players fight that off with the aid of the Changeling. The Changeling should kind of be noted that they can heal. Or they could provide aid in some way because the players are going to need aid. We're going to give out some consumable items up here in this area so that players are not completely blindsided and ruined by this encounter. Town Council calls a meeting and we take a vote. The players are there to just say, look, we're not giving over the Changeling. We're not giving her up. Oh my god, they get to be the heroes. I am curious, though, if they're anything like groups I've had in the past where they're like, yeah, no, clearly she's the problem, and we're going to solve this with, we might have to put a little railroad lever in there, just like, oh my god, no, we can't find her. She's gone off into hiding. Guess we have to fight off the witches anyway. Which feels... I hate the railroad lever. But if you're writing for other people, you might need to employ one every so often. Okay. So, after that, here we go. I said fail forward design, but I might be saying railroad it a little bit. Players get a week to train. Okay, this gives them their apprentice options, which I talked about before, and adjust their stats just a little bit. And then, because every group I've played with, Oh, we're getting it. The town is getting attacked. Here's the first thing that every fighter type says. I'd like to work with the people of the town to train them to fight. In a week? Yeah. Sure. Then the alchemist comes up. I'm going to work on building walls. You sure are. And then there's somebody, I'm going to make potions for people. I'm going to prepare poultices for people. And you know what? I don't want to stop that. I don't want to stop that at all. Matter of fact, it's some of my favorite stuff in adventures. But it's like it's so predictable that my players will say that I can just write it into the adventure. So introduce a victory point system, okay? That allows them to, train townsfolk, make weapons, study, and research. So everybody can essentially spend a week, roll some skill checks, say 2 rounds of skill. I'm going to just note it here. 2 rounds of skill checks. 2 rounds of skill checks. And start to accrue bonuses that are going to come up in the next battle in a week. And then here we go, the end of our adventure. That week comes, and there's 3 waves of combat. Cool. The hags then make we're going to trivial, low, moderate. Neat. Slowly falling back as the town is kind of getting destroyed. All right, we want this to be I hate to do like the JRPG trope of like, and then the town was destroyed, because that's not exactly it. But it should be, the hags are a real threat, and we're in a situation. You know, they come, they leave a lingering curse or mark or something, blah, 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 blah. Players then get level 1 and the game begins. I've made a note here later that we do want to talk about how to level up characters from 0 to 1, because there's some weird stuff that can happen. There's some very weird stuff that can happen from 0 to 1. Skills being a weird one, but we'll get there. Okay. So, here's a checklist of things I want us to do. And let's get started. Let's just get right into it. First off, our adventure background. You'll note here I've very appropriately just put my lorem ipsum as words rather than writing it out in Latin. Lorem ipsum, lorem ipsum, lorem ipsum. I know there's more to it, but I don't remember it. All right. Our adventure background, I'm going to kind of just shorthand a lot of this. A small valley of towns has lived in peace with a local coven of hags. I'm just going to put peace in quotation marks. Perhaps they don't know the hags are there. Perhaps they kind of see them as distant oracle figures, but they're there. The hags, for their part, have been, I don't know, providing minor folksy remedies. I'm going to put rough draft. You put out ideas, and maybe you explore them, don't. Maybe you don't. Wow, I spelled that weird. Folksy. Okay. Every year, they steal a child. Every year seems like a lot. That's a lot of changelings that everyone's just kind of ignoring. Every so often. 5 years? Question mark? Okay. The coven sneaks into a village and steals a child, replacing them with a change. Now, I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong, every time they get really drunk, and think it's funny. Yeah. Just sitting there. Hey, guys. I know I said I wouldn't do this again, but you know what would be funny? Let's steal a baby! I know we did it last time, but come on, it's so much fun. I think the lore is that the hags would steal the babies to eat. I could be wrong. Or for some malicious, dark ritual of some sort, which adds 3 black mana to your mana pool. Alright. Old magic jokes. Alright. Okay, so there's our basic background. The towns have yet to notice this happening. Ho ho. Let's see. I want to also note, quick note, towns are distant, very important, distant, but occasionally come together for festivals, council meetings, and the like. Boom. Okay? I still really love the idea of a bunch of hags sitting around drinking, just going like, we should steal a baby! Why do you always say that? I don't know! I just like stealing babies! Goddamn Jaeger bombs, you know? Alright. Okay. More adventure background, blah, 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 blah. I'll clean up all this. You guys, for everybody that's on the server, you know I'm a wordsmith. I take words, I massage them, I give them love, and I make them good words. Make them real good. You know, like they're good or something. Good. Alright. One such changeling has been resisting the call. It's all capped. The call of the coven. And they have begun to seek her out. When the PCs... don't put the PCs in the adventure background, but it's the background. You don't really want to talk about the synopsis, but we'll combine the synopsis here. Are out doing their part to assist the town. They encounter the hags, spies, and involve themselves in the coven's machinations. There we go. Obviously, a real adventure background is much longer, but we're spitballing here. We're having fun. Here's what I like about this. You can take this idea so much further. You can have this, people have a history with these hags. There's, maybe the other towns have formed an allegiance with the hags. Maybe there are changelings that are working for the hags as spies. There's so much you could do. The hags likely have a large history here in this valley. Cool. And if we're doing, as I mentioned before, I didn't mention this on this stream, but the idea is to write a 0 to 5 campaign. Because I'm so tired of GMs coming up to me and saying, boom, I'm ready. I'm going to write an AP 1 to 20. And it's like, don't do that. Do not do that. Because they're like, all right, I got point A. Point A, the players are all going to be captives of undersea aboleths. And then point B, they're going to defeat the aboleths and re-raise a second starstone. It's like, whoa, okay. So between A and B, you're going to put a whole 1 to 20 adventure path, and they're like, I feel like I don't have to plot out much more. Maybe the hags disguise themselves as a parent looking for the long-lost child. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like I'd have to rewrite a lot of the adventure we got going on. I shouldn't say a lot of it. We could just, what we could do if we do something like that is we change the timing here. There you go. Culmination of something. Changeling caught screaming in town. Later that night, the hags arrive. Give us our daughter. You're coming. I'm not coming with you. I'm not. Keep them away from me. You will regret this, child. Because we don't want them to be sympathetic. We don't want the players to be like, wow, maybe you should go with your long-lost parents. And she's like, no, seriously, they're gonna, no. I'll put this in a note here. Hags arrive to claim their daughter. Now, yeah, we'll think about that. Okay. There's our adventure background. Now, you don't have to adhere. You're writing... I want to come at this from the perspective of we are writing this adventure for ourselves. We're not writing this for publication. We're not writing this because Paizo's like, hey, we're tapping all of Twitch chat to write an adventure. No. I do adhere to a lot of the Paizo sort of formatting, just because it helps me to put things together. So things will be close, but they don't have to be perfect. If later this goes well, and I'm going to talk about my thoughts in that area, mostly because Cowpal exists and he is a very, very cool person. Yeah, if this goes well, who knows? Maybe we'll do something else with it, but okay. So getting started. Hey, is it Cowpal? Yes. I want to talk about that. You'll see my silly thing in a second. Nice. So getting started, I want to open with the PCs begin a mandatory volunteer service. Okay, what I mean to say is everyone in town pitches in from time to time, and the PCs have been called on. Now, the player's getting called on. When I'm playing like a wizard and a rogue and a thaumaturge and a gunslinger, and like the four of us just get like randomly chosen to do a menial task, it always feels like Spot the Anime protagonist, where it's like, oh, look at all these normal people, and then there's just like my dude roided out, ready to murder a guy with 18 strength at level 1. This feels a little bit more normal, where you're just 4 ordinary people. You know, like it could be anybody, which I really like that as a thing. That I love adventures where you could be anybody. I also love Fist of the Ruby Phoenix, where you are badasses, but I really like that growth from nobodies to reluctant heroes, where you were thrust in the position more than anything. Anyway, so everyone pitches in time. The PC has been called upon. Okay, the job given to them, what I mentioned back here, I really like this, is a small yet decent library. I like the idea that the library is the town's hub. I like when towns have defining sort of things. And we're going to go talk about my library, the town in a second, because I realize I do want to do that before we move on. The job given to them is by the librarian to collect overdue books, late fees, or drop off books. Okay? Cool. That's, it's essentially, how best put it? Reskinning is something that exists. You know, you guys are getting attacked by a grabblesnick. It's a goblin, but it's my homebrew goblin. It's a grabblesnick, and I gave him an extra special ability. When your players are sent down to kill a bunch of rats in a cellar, that's not an exciting way to start, except the beginner box. Hey, on the nose there, and I really like that. So, but if suddenly your players are asked to ascend the nearby tree and do away with the gremlins, that's essentially reskinning the problem in a more interesting way. And what reskinning lets us do is give us more room for world building and to sort of expand on that in new directions. So this is essentially a reverse fetch quest, where you're just dropping things off at people's homes. But it helps us to establish the town a little bit with the, wow, people read here. And I feel like that's kind of important and cool. Or people come here, we might meet out-of-towners, and it lets us obviously meet the changeling, which is going to be a big part of the adventure. Oh, this coffee is just so bad. Because I do have the new job coming up, I will soon be able to afford actual coffee. I've been drinking that instant stuff. Oh, for like 2 months. Just dreadful. Okay. There. That's all. That's a good getting started. This gets expanded out more. Talk about who they're meeting, the library, what they have to do, etc. Okay? Then the event. Now, what I want to do I have this tab? I have this tab open somewhere. I have a million tabs. Now, what I want to do Here we are. Named city. Here's our city. Okay? You don't have to make a stat block for every city, but I want to make one on stream real fast, just so I can get some ideas out. Okay? We've decided. Unless anyone has any more suggestions, Chikarin's Grove is the name of this village. I have it as neutral good. I don't know. Even neutral feels fine. You know, a level 1 settlement. This is like nobody's here. Population 50 to 200. Anybody have any suggestions? Anyone feel like a number is like standing out to them? Like, oh man, it's got to be 166. Oh, if it's not 98, I'll absolutely kill somebody. I swear I'll stop signing up for games if it's not 203. Anybody? No? Okay. I'm going to pick a number. It doesn't really matter. This to me is a legacy of 3.5. Whereas just like every detail. If it is 98, whew! Bullet dodged! That said, if I name the person... No, I can't. I can't be caught hiring assassins again. Not after that Tiger King problem. Whew, pawned it off on that guy. Anybody remember Tiger King? Corona was so long ago. I feel like I'm like going to step into a world of trouble if I say I want this to be a majority human population, because I love the idea of this incredibly boring blank slate that we can kind of add little bits of spice to. So like the players stand out because I think, as interesting as it could be, very rarely have I ever seen a party go entirely full human. 3rd edition maybe, because boy oh boy, getting that bonus feat at level 1, whoo! And I guess, yeah, I mean, 1st edition Pathfinder, yeah. So I'm going to say a majority human. Obviously, we've already got it there, but I want to go a little bit higher. 92%, okay? Quick math is, 92, half, 435 humans. There you go, around there. So we've got another 8% to work around with. We want dwarves. We want elves. Halflings. Halflings I feel like are going to be a nice... I like halflings among humans. Not in the Chilaxian way, which I don't know that we've gotten the answer for what happened to all the halflings in Cheliax yet. Anyway, 3% sample. No, wait a minute. 3% halfling. This is so unnecessary. I don't need to do any of this. I don't know why I am. It's a 2% dwarf. All right, that gives us what? What do we got? 97. 2% elf. And the gnomes can fuck right off. Okay. All right, there we go. I love gnomes. I do. I shouldn't be. And 1% other. Ta-da! All right. Common. Languages, common. Halfling. They don't really know any other languages. All right. Religions, blah, blah, blah. Threats, hag, coven, blah, 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 blah. Here's what I really want to do. Here's why I'm doing this right now. Who are the important people in the town? Because we want to establish some characters so that we can feel bad when they die. Or to at least give us stakes for what we're fighting for. As a horrible, awful George R.R. Martin type GM, I'm okay with killing off characters that people love. Fair warning to everybody. Have I killed off anybody that somebody loves in a play-by-post game yet? Dark Archive, no. Strength of Thousands, no. I don't think so. Strength of Thousands has been my big role-playing outlet. Well, Fist of the Ruby Phoenix is my absolute mechanical outlet of like, oh my god, so many rules. Alright, so what I want a head librarian. Okay, this is they're going to be their contact. I'm surprised you haven't killed me. Honestly, I've only killed one Slozar character, which was Korut, the kobold summoner, and I was so kindness in my heart. You guys rushed into a severe encounter, and it just absolutely, Korut was like, "Oh my god, my Adolian is murdering me!" Ah! And they had to drag you away for a sacrifice. That was fun. I do love the Slytherin game. I'm not in love with the adventure, but that was a lot of fun to do. So I want this to be our good person. And what, it was 3 years ago, and we only finished it up maybe we finished it up about like a year and a half ago. The server was so different. I want this to be our very, very good person that we have the connection with. Runs the local library, and part-time alchemist. Here's why I'm saying part-time alchemist, okay? I tossed it in there without any explanation. Part-time alchemist. We can reward the players with consumables that they will need to survive some of these low encounters or moderate encounters. We're definitely not putting in a severe encounter because that's pretty much immediate death for level 0 characters. Oh, this coffee's so bad. So, I'm going to throw this out there to you guys. Think of a gender and ancestry for this librarian and a name. And I'm going to start putting out some more ideas for the rest of the stuff. I want to have I'm just going to copy paste. Boop-a-doo. Whoever gets it out first, boom, that's what their name's going to be. That's what their stuff's going to be. Fine. Levium, I can call it, our person's name could be Slozar, the Undying, the part-time alchemist and librarian. All right, what I want, somebody run the tavern, because I would like that. If we're doing apples, I want to have apple cider. I think that's interesting. I think we talked about it. Slozar the red shirt. Oh. I'm curious. How self-indulgent would it be to just throw in, like, names from people on the server? Like, if I ever ran this on the server, it'd feel kind of weird, but, And also, I feel like I wouldn't be able to help myself. I'd be, like, role-playing this person with Slozar's personality. And let me be very clear, you're not lawful good. Alright, let's see here. Slozar of... I like the red shirt. Slozar red sheep. Oh, no, wait, that sounds really bad now that I say that out loud. Anyway, Slozar. Our lawful good... Give me gender and ancestry here for Slozar. I mean, male. My too wrong in this one. With a name like Slozar. Any old gnome. That's our 1% other. I'm interested by that already. And Slozar feels like a fine gnome name. I've seen a picture of Slozar. He is no gnome, and he is definitely no lawful good. Like so many people, I'm like, I consider myself chaotic neutral, and everyone I talk to that's like nerdy in any way, like, yeah, Azur's lawful evil. Like, that came out very quickly. That you have pictures of you looking like a gnome. I have a son. He looks exactly like a gnome. I tend towards lawful evil myself. I like to play by the rules as long as they benefit me and hurt others. Yeesh. All right. I want someone to own the tavern. This could be a situation of a cleric of Caden Kellyan running a tavern, but I want to not give this town so much magic or anything. So maybe innkeeper, tavern keeper, because inns and taverns are very different, but we kind of just smush them together. not at least a little gnomish. It's that speaking to animals thing, isn't it? Tavern keeper. And I do kind of like the idea of this person kind of being like, treating their tavern almost like a parish. Where it's just like, all right, everybody going to have a little sermon, then we're all going to drink. That'd be interesting. All right, going in this direction. Okay. Owner of... Anyone want a name for the inn? And priest of Caden Callion. If I spelled that right, I'm hoping. And of course, if you're going to be a worshiper of Caden Callion, you got to be chaotic good, for sure. They're not an actual cleric. They don't have magic or anything. Let's normalize just being a priest instead of being a magical frickin' laser shooting priest. I like my settings low magic that just become insanely high fantasy. Owner of the what tavern? And also gender ancestry. I'm already feeling like I kind of want this to be a woman. And you know what? We said 92% human. I'm taking the choice out of people's hands. Female human. Owner of... owner of... A Lonely Heart. I like... You know what? I like the Lonely Heart Tavern. Owner of the Lonely Heart Tavern. And priest of Caden Callion. I spelled priest wrong. And I feel like it's a very good opportunity for at least players I've played with, where they're like, Lonely Heart, hey, maybe I could help with that. And she's like, nope, happily married. Just, I don't know why I'm making her Irish, but, happily married, just doing my own thing. Lonely Heart, pick a place for hunters and or fawns and or centaurs. Ah, I get it. It's a pun. I was like, risky spelled heart wrong. You know what? It does make me feel like we could do a pun with her name in terms of like, make it like heart. Terran Heart. Owner of the Lonely Heart Tavern and priest of Caden Callion. Boom! Writes itself. Ooh, I like it. And also, quick word, if you're going to do fantasy names, just put Y's in there. Just throw a Y every so often. All right. We should have a political figure. Not like a not a mayor. I feel like a mayor feels very boring. I don't know. Magistrate. What is a magistrate? Hold on. Magistrate? What is a magistrate? Civil officer who administers the law. Yeah, local judge. And the magistrate occasionally meets with this council of other towns. Also, I love that my Google goes right to like Japanese right away. It's like, hold on a second. You want the Japanese for this, right? All right. Here we go. Magistrate. Let him be a... I want no magic! Alright, here should be our boring guy. But they should be... town... Chikarin's Grove... representative. Okay? Grave! Whoa! Oh, my... Very different tone. I feel like it's just like all the players are these low level like, oh boy, I really wish I could use magic, and in comes the guy's like, oh, time to judge people. Away! And he just like, flies off with a sword. Ha ha! Judgment time. I'm thinking boring. Lawful neutral male. Human. Gosh. For a second, I thought you were Tomb Raider for a second, Slozar, and I was about to say, like Judge Judy. Oh my god, the Pathfinder Society games. For those of you not playing the Pathfinder Society games, it's great. We have a very rotating cast of like characters that come in and out of games. So it's fun to see all these weird personalities like meet up and like say goodbye and form friendships. And then we have Nex, who comes in with Tio de Nadal, which is a Leshy that is essentially, it's Tio de Nadal, that, what, I don't know, Swedish? Netherlands? But it's a Christmas thing, and it's a log that shits candy. Then we got Judge Judy, the Oracle with a mace. I think it's a war priest with a mace. And we had little drummer boy who became Leon de Bello. So I hear gavel, and all I can think is Judge Judy showing up. And it's like, my God, all these people are dead. It's so tragic. Judge Judy, what do you have to say about this? Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. God damn it, Judge Judy, people are dead. All right. What's a boring name? What's a very uninteresting name? Slozar. No. Yeah, it's so interesting. Well, I think you would actually be stymied. You'd be stymied by Pathfinder Society, because not stymied. That's the wrong word. You'd be stifled. Like, I have this great idea for a character that uses like one thing that I'd have to get like points for, or I'd have to like. I feel like it would actually not feel great for you, Slozar. I worked a very long time to get Aphorite and Android. I just qualified to get it, and boy, oh boy. It's just been a lot of fun, except my character's been useless. If Cal's still in chat, I was like, all right, time to prepare my spells for today. I'm going to be so smart. I'm so smart. I'll just diversify my stuff. And then I looked and I was like, all I do is electric damage. Oh, these guys are resistant to electric damage. Crap. So my guy's just walking around recalling knowledge as a wizard and doing nothing else. Alright. Boring name. Ingdar. Fletcher. Yeah, close enough that Felcher. Wizard's doing good. I truly, like, I'm actually very proud of Honesty's contributions to the group. Mostly in terms of comedy. Just hand me the medical kit. I know how to use them. Alright. Now for burns, we apply it like he's not burnt. Look, I told you I know how to use this. I didn't tell you I knew how to apply it correctly. I have the knowledge. Ingdar Fletcher. Sure. And one more important person. Who would be important for a small town? Like, alright, so Gene Rick Oring. Wait, Cal's playing Staniel, who gives us the best. Staniel Generickson. I fucking love Staniel. Everyone loves Staniel, and I feel bad that I'm playing a character that hates Staniel. I feel so bad. I played it like a taciturn, shitty, fucking elf. Teamed up with Staniel is just the worst buddy cop drama. Where it's just like, oh my God, I hate Staniel more than anything. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh yes, Staniel's the best. Oh God, somebody, if ever you get into a PFS game with Staniel, give that man all your love. He deserves it. Staniel Claris Generison. Oh, so good. Okay, this is a small tangent. So Diablo 4 came out. Everyone's playing Diablo 4. I don't have time. I do not have time. I don't have money. I don't have any of that. But I was sitting here and I was like, you know what? You know what a game is that I could play that I really like for like 20 minutes and still get that kind of like that hit? Diablo 1. So I just installed Diablo 1 and started playing it. And boy, oh boy, I still love that game. It's, but I was thinking what like the classic setup for dark fantasy. You've got the local healer, you've got the innkeeper, you've got the witch, you've got the blacksmith, and that's it. That's the whole town that you interact with. There's also the drunk, the peg-legged boy, and the barmaid. But you know, but I don't want to lean, like, you can already see I'm trying to get away from just pure fantasy, classic fantasy, and I don't want our last important person to be guy that runs the blacksmith or woman that runs the, I don't want to be a blacksmith. Somebody of influence. We've got the tavern keeper, who also doubles as our faith. And also, let's get the religions, Caden Kelly. Aristil. Classic. Do this in order. Caden Kellyan, did I spell that right? I always, every time. Aristil. Boom. Cool. Yeah. Let's do, you know what? Huh. Alright. I want a dwarf. I like dwarves. In case you guys don't know this, because I don't play any dwarves on the server with the exception of one character that I did. I love dwarves so much. It is probably because I started playing Dwarf Fortress in college and never let that go. I love dwarves. I'm kind of thinking about doing an agender dwarf brewer. I feel like that's a lot of... Could be a local hunter. You know, I do actually really like that. There's got to be a way to get food. I mean, obviously there's a way to get food. It just doesn't have to be an important person. You know, okay. All right, so... Shalelu. Hold on. Yeah. Shalelu from Rise of the Rune Lords and Noala from... Fall of Plaguestone is essentially the same person. It's the elf ranger who goes out and protects the land from the local threats. And I don't know if that's just Jason Ballman being Jason Ballman. I don't think he wrote first book of Rise of the Rune Lords, so I don't want to do more. You may notice a theme with me. I don't want to keep telling stories that have been told already. A neutral, agender, dwarf, hunter. Trapper. Okay. Trapper tells a much more interesting story than Hunter. They are an expat here. All right. A transplant. Transplant to the town. I feel writing it that way. New arrival. That feels wrong. But I want them to not be from here originally. Outsider. What? Hunter and Trapper. Not originally from Chikarin's Grove. Okay. All right. Oh, important, but we didn't name them. We didn't name them. M, that's my... So, I always have trouble with pronouns only because my gender-neutral way of referring to everyone is like im or em. And I'm like, that's not good. But also I live in Japan, and I don't get to speak English that often. So when I do, I'm 7 years out from living in America, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have so much to like remember. What is our trapper's name? And I'm going agender here mostly because I'm curious about the story. Boku is actually what I use, which is essentially, as my wife calls it, the adorable way to say I. Gender neutral would probably be... Watashi is more formal, and but watashi is actually probably the most gender neutral, which is the one that everybody else knows anyway, and it's also formal enough that you can get away with it. Ore is incredibly male. I used that once from my wife, and she was like, "Don't do ore. You need to be cool to use ore." And she's like, "I don't even like people that use that." So I use boku. I forget actually. Watashi is also quite feminine. Like that's the problem. Is there's so many like ways to say I, and I was gonna joke that there's cartoon characters that do a bunch of silly ways to refer to themselves. Like Biking Man here calls himself Ore-sama, which is essentially like saying Make way for Lord Me, which is cool. And I know that Undertale got a Japanese translation. People were upset because Sans used ore. Japanese. Sorry, weird Japanese tangent out of nowhere. You know what? Hold on. I'm thinking that's a bokore. Bokore. I'm not sure if I like that anymore. You know what? I do kind of like that. Bokore. I'm trying to think of like how... There. Alright, there's enough there. It's my Clone Wars again. Don't tell me what the Clone Wars is. Just say Clone Wars and let my mind go. Don't tell me what Bokore means, where it's from. Just tell me that this dwarf is not from Chikarin's Grove, and let my brain go with the rest. Is Bokore a Mwangi name? Is it a Tian name? I don't know. Let the GM do that. That's fun to me. And I'm going to come back. This is what I really wanted to do for the day. Not the day, but for the adventure, is essentially give us 4 people. Slozar has now been immortalized as our head librarian. I'm gonna. By the way, Slozar, I did intend for the librarian to die. So, I don't know, maybe. If anyone who wants any more Japanese lessons, I'm here for that. I think that's a lot of fun. Classic Slozar, always dying. Look, they put Wizard Scholarly Mage type. Sure. Here we go. Guard Martial Sort. There we go. Bokore. Council member. Boom. Got it. And a Changeling. I don't think I want that to be an important person. So, cool. Opening scene. Who, what, where, when, why. Okay. Who? Slozar meeting the PCs. Where? The small library in town. Boom. What? Giving them a job to collect books, collect books, fees, and deliver books. Boom. Why? It's a part of their part of the villagers' service to the town. All right. So everybody that went through middle school has done a book report, knows who, what, where, when, and why. And that's a really, really good way to establish a scene when you're writing. Ta-da! Look at that. We know where this is taking place right away. It's taking place in the small library. Slozar is meeting the players. It's their job. They have to do it because everybody does it at some point. It's just their turn, and it's taking place in the morning. Adventure writing is a lot easier than we make it seem. Okay, that's it. That's all we had to do. All right. I really want to jump ahead to the stuff that I prepped, but okay. Event name. Meeting the librarian. Okay. All right. The PCs are scheduled to meet with Slozar, the librarian. That feels very fantasy when you say it that way. 'Tis I, Slozar, the librarian. Sorry, it just takes me back in high school. I used to write a comic called Conan the Accountant. It was just a huge, giant, roided out accountant. That was all it was. And he was just, my God, you filled out these forms incorrectly. I need to take a break. All right. Scheduled to meet with Slozar, the librarian, to provide their aid to the town. It's a commune, essentially. You help out the town helps out for you. We don't have taxes, Conan the salad, see, it's like, all you have to do is Conan the blank, and it writes itself. It's so fun. I love that sort of stuff. Oh, man. All right. I haven't followed Twitter in a while because my wife said to me, she's like, oh, you go on Twitter a lot, and all it does is make you angry. I was like, yeah, you're right. Oh, my God. She's like, yeah, get off of that. Okay. Right there, to the 10. Okay. The PCs have. I'm shorthanding all this. I'll go back and fix this later if we do. I want it to be, there's going to be 3 big missives or 3 big drop-offs. But it's weird if they do more than that. If they don't have more than that. 5 books to collect. I feel like the collecting books should be a rarity. 3 books to collect. 5 to drop off. And 2 late fees to collect. Okay? To collection. Alright. These can all be handled, what's the word I'm looking for? Narratively. But the events below depict what? Describe 3 specific encounters that the PCs will encounter, will come across in their ministrations. What's a better word than ministrations? In their errands. During their errands. Boom. Okay? What did I write down here? I wrote down an argument breaking out of the tavern hall. I like that. Solving it with charisma. Debate at the library. I'm not sure if I like that as much anymore because it's weird to leave the library and then go back to the library. Unloading and loading of apples and cider. This is again happening at the tavern hall. Maybe this can happen at like a marketplace. I could like that. And maybe we can meet Bokore. I'm trying to think of how, like, a very European way of pronouncing that way. Bokore. I'm Bokore. That sounds like an English translation of a Japanese name. Hey guys, it's me, Bokore, your friend. I'm here to catch the pocket monsters. Yep, absolutely, Cal. Oh, now I'll get to it later. I'll just talk you up later. But if this ever becomes something, I'm gonna be like, commission you for maps. Your maps are awesome and beautiful, and I love you. I don't know if it's ever gonna be, but you never know. All right, so I'm gonna keep Tavern Hall. Oh, the Lonely Heart. Lonely Heart Tavern. All right. Words. Market. Words. What's the other thing we want to do? What, I just said it. Oh, no, I didn't. I skipped over. Words. So we've got maybe meeting the magistrate at some point. Ingdar. Yeah, Ingdar is chambers. Something like that. Okay. Ingdar's offices. Cool. Words. Whoa. Words. All right. So then we can design some some skill challenges here. What I want this to be is what I really hate is, I shouldn't say I really hate this. I don't really hate this, but when Pathfinder Society has conditioned me that when you overcome an encounter or a challenge of whatever sort, there should be reward waiting on the other end. The game still progresses, even if you don't, but should you do a good job, you get a reward. Fail forward design. So what I'd like each of these things to be is that the players could get something of value that they can use later in the adventure for overcoming these. Even if it's just like, increasing relationships with these people because they're down the line, they can help them out. Yeah. All right. Now, and the other thing is meeting the changeling. And this is going to be I'm going to put moderate 0 encounter. Okay? All right. I've only got about 20 more minutes before I have to start cleaning this house up. My family is spending the night. We're celebrating because, hey, I won a lawsuit. Long story short, but I won a lawsuit. My life is very strange. So we're celebrating tonight. so I got to clean up the house. What I want to do is design the Raven attack encounter. There'll be, yeah, boop. Cool. You're going to meet the changeling. At some point while you're delivering all these books or collecting things, we get to meet the changeling, and she's coming under attack by 2 ravens. Again, we've talked about how dangerous this is, but we'll say 2 rounds of combat, the ravens will leave, because that's fine. If the players get to defeat those ravens, whoa, interesting. We'll work from there. So what I did, is I made a map. Okay? Let's open this up in a new tab so it's nice and pretty. Whoa, no, oh God. Never mind. We'll do it this way. All right. Really? Imager's going to show it like this? All right. What I did, I took the map pack for the marketplace. There we go. Get it all there. I put together 4 tiles of the map pack, and I made a nice little scene for us. So when you write your adventures, you could very easily just like draw out a general outline of like where you want. I want things to look like this. Or, going to plug Paizo here for a second. You can actually just grab a map pack, throw some things together, and just have a map to use quite easily. And I think this is a nice setting for the players to engage these 2 ravens. I've also, because I'm not under any obligation to do this, but I feel like I kind of want to. Where did I put it? There's the product link to their game mastery map packs, and it's $10 for the PDF. You can't even get it. Oh, you can't get the print edition anymore? I mean, how long ago was this? 2011. 12 years ago. Whoops. All right. But we can also just work from here and design something. So what I was going to say is that, hey, should this ever become a thing, I would love to contact someone to make maps. I know if anyone's played in one of Cal Pal's games, he makes maps for his adventures, and they're gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I'm going to pull one up right now because I love them. And also, I'm now discovering that I'm in the middle of a fight. Da-da-da-da. All right, these. Oh, my God. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work by Cal Pal. I just love how these look. And I'm sure that there's a program for this. Whoa, so close. Anyway, I would love to commission him for some maps, should ever we get to that point where I'm like, oh, I think we actually made something. And they look great. So, but you, again, we're not acting like this is going to be some official thing. We're learning how to write adventures for ourselves, for our table. So, just using PDFs of these map packs is enough to quickly make a scene for our characters to engage against. 2. There we go. Creatures. Raven 2. And I want to note, ravens, attack by flying down to peck at PCs, then swooping back up. Okay? After only 2 rounds of combat, they flee to return to their hag masters. Okay? Hag mistresses, hag owners, to the coven. Feels weird. Okay. And I will say, okay, during the course of their deliveries, PCs will stumble upon a scene of the changeling woman being attacked by 2 vicious ravens. Okay, then our battle takes place. Our players kind of get a little taste of adventure of fighting at level 0, and that taste should be, oh my God, we can die very easily. Okay, after the combat, changeling can reveal some connection to magical power. I'm going to look like an idiot here, but I never see anybody use this anyway. Is this? Yes. Nobody. Raise your hand if you've seen anyone use the stabilize cantrip. I have not seen anyone use the stabilize cantrip. Oh no, and I get it, I understand why. But this is a great opportunity. Maybe the Changeling has access to some primal cantrips, because I like her having a connection to the took it in principle. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you're like, I'll take it for a flavor spell, and then you never use it. So I like the idea of her having a primal connection, because we can tie into stuff like that later. Connection has 1 or 2 primal cantrips. Catnips. What? Cantrips. In this case, stabilize. So this way, players are not in danger of dying. For instance, if it's 2 rounds of combat, Raven comes down, crits somebody, immediately knocks them down to dying 2. At worst, a player gets around to a death save, and they crit fail it and then die, but man, that's just bad luck. But that the Changeling can cast Stabilize at the end and keep someone from dying. Maybe some... Okay. As well as perhaps some medical talent to heal up PCs after the fight. Okay? So, this teaches players... This is not a teaching module. This is not a teaching adventure that we're writing. Because if you're teaching people stuff, the worst way to teach them is these encounters that are going to crush them. Not crush them, but I mean, 2 ravens against the level 0 party is rough. All right. So we have our first 4 scenes. Lonely Heart Tavern, we didn't really write these scenes, actually. Then we've got Meeting the Changeling, which is our first encounter. Cool. All right. Bup, bup, bup. There we are. I spent way more time making this map than I did talking about it. It's just like, check this out. You can do this. That's it. Spoilers. Since I am going to be running off soon to get more coffee so I can clean. Small downtime. What can PCs do in town? I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay. I don't know that I really care too much about what happens between here. Okay. I'm going to say return to library. Okay, return to library. Collect reward? Question mark? PCs describe what they do in town after that. And then we get to the hag announcement, arrival. Okay. And our next scene is going to be the arrival of the hags. Okay. So the arrival of the hags, we're going to get another attack. I haven't quite thought that one through. A moderate, just put moderate, perhaps. Anyway, I'm going to keep jotting stuff down. Arrival of the hags. Say, moderate 0. Okay. I'm not sure if I want to go with Risky's idea. That might be fun, of them kind of screaming and shouting at the Changeling in the middle of town, or them demanding to see the daughter, or their daughter. Maybe there's a combination of they arrive in disguises. I feel like the vibe I have for these hags is that they're like, what do we have to care about you guys? What can you do to us? Give us our daughter. We are the most powerful. It's sort of the way I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm going to say the hags arrive in a show of force. I want them to be the bullies, is what I'm saying. I don't want them to be like sneaky and tricky. I want them to be like, what's up? We're going to kill you all. Give us our daughter. Demanding to see their daughter. She arrives. She blanches. Screams. Begs for help. And refuses to go. Okay, the hags then send animal minions to fetch her. Okay, and that gives us our encounter. Creatures to be determined. Okay. Then we have our the town meeting. Boom. Then we're gonna have downtime. 1 week. Gaining apprentice options. Boom. Then we're gonna have the attack. Capitalizing at random here. The attack. Wave 1. Wave 2. Wave 3. Okay? It's gonna be waves. And then we're gonna get to conclusion. There we go. We have the outline of what the adventure is going to look like. A little bit more detailed now. Now, what I also did, I kind of wanted to get to this before I did sign off, so to speak. We're going to do victory point, as I talked about this, to get some benefits. I made more maps to show the town. So what we've got here, there we go. So the players will have their first fight up here in the kind of the front, nice and wide open, allows them to kind of just mash down whatever the hags send their way. Then we've got, boom, they fall back. They're getting pushed back. You know, somebody screams out like, fall back, and they go back further and further. Again, using map packs, putting this together. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. And, of course, finally they fall back here. We've got tighter spaces. Maybe we could even have some attacks coming from over here or up here. That copy link getting in the way. So again, man, I'm really shilling for Paizo right now. Go buy their back map pack, which you can't get anymore. But just get some map packs. They're good. If you play in person, I think it's always good to have a few in your back pocket, or at least have that giant flip mat so you can draw on it. Or, if you're anything like me, where is it? I don't have it here. I usually do, because I just have a giant grid, a whiteboard grid that I always carry around for my games. So, this is what our kind of the culmination of our level 0 adventure goes, is falling back slowly as the hags are advancing. And then the players will defeat their final threat, and the hags will say, you know, we're coming back, or... See, this is the problem I ran into before. Here we go. The players are victorious. This is all for naught. We always what we want. I say they leave a lingering curse or a mark or something, or they outright take the changeling. I don't like ending an adventure with, and the players did dick all. Yeah, good job fighting. You succeeded, but you still lost. I don't like that. But also, why do the hags leave? I'm going to note that. Why do the hags leave? Are they only able to function at a certain time? Did something scare them away? Why not take the changeling? Okay, and that's a question for later. All right, I am going to be heading off. This is really fun. We have the makings, and very, very clearly, this was an hour of prep, an hour and a half of prep. Looking at, about hour and a half of prep. If somebody wanted to write an adventure and run an adventure, you don't need to do much more than this. Matter of fact, if you kind of, if you define these skill challenges a little bit more, role played up, meeting the changeling, this is like 2.5 hours of gameplay. You could do this probably this whole adventure, 4 hours of play. And, 3 hours prep for writing things, start to finish. Probably even less if you weren't talking like I am at a camera for 2 hours. Yeah. All right, so what we'll do finishes up next week. I'm gonna maybe over the course of the weekend. I have a busy weekend, actually. We'll see. I'm gonna do the conversion stream again on Sunday night. Yay! I should mention this. So I do have a new job. Yay! But also, I will be working at this time slot that I'm usually here. But I will have my Thursdays free, which would mean a Wednesday night stream. So I may be shifting the schedule, so I'll be streaming on Wednesday nights now. We'll see. We'll see how I feel, especially how tired I get with the new job, because my hours are very different than what they are now. So we'll see. Hopefully, the plan is to keep doing this next Wednesday. Next Wednesday night for all of you. All right. I think that's going to do it for today. Like I said, I got to clean this place up. And, yeah. All right, this is a lot of fun. And everybody, thank you for stopping by. And tip your dungeon masters, tip your GMs, send them a pizza. And, yeah. Love you all. Enjoy the rest of your, enjoy the soon-to-come weekend. Bye-bye.